Hello, welcome to Lord of the Board. My name is Sam. Today we're going to be talking about the games that I played the most in 2025. So that's crazy to say because it's already last year, guys. This year has blown by so incredibly fast. And just before I get into the list, I just want to say thank you for another incredible year. I definitely want to do a wrap-up video that will kind of encapsulate just some of the cool things that happened for the channel over the last year. As you guys probably know, this is not a full-time job for me, so it's definitely something that I'm just passionate about and I want to continue to do. And it has been such a blast to receive so much support in the form of memberships, in the form of the Discord channel growing up, but like gaining members. It's just been an incredible time, and yeah, I want to do a full video dedicated to that, but this is the first video that's going to be releasing in 2026. As you guys know, there was a lot of videos discussed towards December 2025 that I was talking about releasing. Those videos are still going to release. There's something that happens with me where apparently my brain just turns off content creation mode in December. This actually happens every year, and I know it about myself. And I don't know why I still try to do it. I guess I just really want to focus on things that are important to me most, which is family and being present during that time. But I get this sense of reinvigoration when it comes to the new year. And I wanted the first video to be about this because I actually had a lot of plays in 2025. I'll release the stats at the end of this video. But I wanted to talk about the 10 games that I had the most logged plays for in 2025. Now, just a caveat, some of these are going to be digital plays alongside live plays. I think that even if you had taken away all digital plays, it would have shaked out to about the same. But we're also going to be talking about, second caveat, in the 10th place, there's actually a three-way tie. So I'm going to briefly mention the two other games that could be considered that 10th spot, I guess, because I'm doing it in the order that BG Stats kind of put it. So we're just going with that, I guess. With that, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let me take a nice quick sip of coffee. Drink more coffee. That's probably going to be another goal of mine this year. Probably not a healthy one. All right, so number 10. So first off, let's talk about the games that also had the same number of plays, which there are 3 games that I did 10 plays of. And that is going to be Boop, which is a small 2-player abstract game. I've talked about it before. I love this little game. I played 10 games, I think exclusively with one person, which was Jeff from Foster the Meeple. Love that man. And yeah, we played a lot of freaking Boop on BGA exclusively. I've got Arcs coming in. You guys know I love Arcs. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I've got a huge video breaking down the game. But yeah, I played Arcs 10 times this year. So the first game on my list is going to be PAX Premiere. If you didn't know, this is a game designed by Cole Worley, who is the designer of my favorite game of all time, which is Root. And it is a historical game that is set during the Great Game, this time period where Great Britain and Russia were kind of fighting over territory in Afghanistan. And you were playing kind of Afghani leaders, political players, I guess you could say, and they are going to be kind of going between different allegiances to try and score victory points in this game. And these kind of 3 armies come in these 3 colors. So there's Afghan pieces, which are green, Great Britain pieces, which are pink, and then the yellow pieces, which are the Russian pieces. And throughout the game, you might build loyalty or gain loyalty by playing certain cards, buying them from the market, and whoever has the most loyalty in the faction that's kind of doing the best or controls the most territory will score differing amounts of points. And so the game is really about shifting those allegiances at the right time. When you realize that, you're a part of a faction that's not going to be scoring any more points. You might have been a part of Russia, and then all the other players moved over to Afghan, and now Afghan's doing amazing on the board. Well, then you might want to switch over to Afghan and really annoy everybody because now you're not opposing them anymore. And that's really what PAX Premier is all about, is that shifting of allegiances throughout the game at very specific points and knowing which cards to buy that will give you these really powerful kind of one-shot abilities and give you access to actions as well. PAX Premier is one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my top 10 of all time. And I was so happy to have 10 plays of it this year. Next up with 11 plays, the first of 3 with 11 plays actually. This is going to be my 9th most played game, and that is going to be Magic the Gathering, which genuinely did not expect that to make the list this year. I didn't expect it to make a list in a while. Like, I haven't played Magic in so long. I did buy cards when the Lord of the Rings set released. I got kind of really into it. I built a banger banger Sauron commander deck. And since then, I've actually crafted 3 commander decks, and I really owe it to my friend James here. He has invited me to come and play commander with him, and it's just been fantastic. 11 plays, and it has been an absolute blast. I also got really into Wizard of Barge, which actually my wife got me this shirt for Christmas. The world is cruel, so I choose not to be. And I love the art so much that I actually kind of started collecting these cards by that artist that they did in Magic as well. So really cool to see that a person that I love their art of for their merch also did special art cards for Magic. It just kind of worked. So now I have a crazy goblin deck led by Muxus. If you don't know what Magic the Gathering is, there is so much content on the internet that will tell you about it. And this is a trading card game. This is, I guess, not technically, it's not like the rest of these games. I kind of didn't know if I should add it to the list, but I think that it should be here. It's on BG Stats. I was able to log the game. And so that was 11 games of Commander Magic the Gathering. So we're going to move to the 8th most played game, which is also 11 games, and that is going to be Hot Streak. Hot Streak is by CMYK, and it is a new kind of party style bidding game that is based off of kind of horse races. Only in this one, you're bidding, or sorry, I should say not bidding, it's betting. It's a betting game, but you're betting on mascots. Crazy fun mascots that are going to be running down a track to the finish line, and they can kind of topple over each other. They can run off the map. They can turn around. They can fall down. They can try to crawl to the finish line. Lots of goofy things. And the way that all 4 of these mascots are run is by a deck of cards, and this deck of cards will be manipulated just slightly by the players themselves, because they're each going to have a hand of cards and secretly be putting one in. Then you do kind of a snake draft where you're going to be grabbing these betting tiles, saying things like, okay, I think that the blue fish is going to win, or Hurley the hot dog is going to win. And you can even kind of up the ante by saying, okay, I'm going to be really serious about this bet, and I'm going to flip it over, and I'll get more points if they're in a high position, but less points if they're in a lower one. There's also these things called side bets, and those ones change each round. So they'll have, a top bet, middle bet, and bottom bet for each of the 4 characters, and then 2 side bets, whether that side bet will be true or false. Things like, will a player be knocked out this round, meaning they've been knocked down and then knocked again. Lots of fun to be had. The thing that I love most about Hot Streak, I'm just going to say it right now, is that every single person that I've introduced this game to, I've gotten to start yelling around the table and get really, really into it. I don't know how much of this game is the people that you play it with. I think it's a pretty good percentage, but I will say Hot Streak has made a huge impression over the past year, and it's one that actually wasn't even in my house for probably 3 months, maybe 2 months of this year, because I've been giving it off to friends for them to show off to their family members, and it's just been a joy. So that is going to be Hot Streak in the 8th spot. We're going to be moving on to the 7th spot, and this is also 11 plays, and this is going to be Mythic Freakin' Mischief. I always add Freakin', but it's just called Mythic Mischief. This is a 3 or 4, but really it's a 2-player abstract strategy game. I'm a huge fan of chess, and I think that me playing chess for most of my childhood got me into abstract strategy games in general, but there hasn't been so many that have felt as thematic or as interesting to me as Mythic Mischief has. And so it makes a lot of sense that I've played 11 games this past year. This is a game where you are essentially trying to trick other players' pieces and move other players' pieces to be in line of sight of a tome keeper, which is like a librarian. And this librarian has a direct path that they will go throughout the board. They're going to go to the first spot, second spot, then the third spot. And you're trying to get the other team in their way so that you can score points. Meanwhile, you're going to be playing a little bit of an upgrade your board situation, because you can collect these books to upgrade your abilities, and all of these different kind of school factions that you might be playing are all going to have some variance in how they move other pieces and how they manipulate the walls in the game, because the walls are really what's going to angle that path for the tome keeper. Yeah, playing 11 games of this makes a lot of sense. I love this game still. I think it's a fantastic one. And it's just a blast to pull out, especially in more of the cold months. It's just a really cozy game if you really want to think hard about your board gaming. All right, moving on to 6. This one's funny. So we have got in sixth spot Dungeon Mayhem. This is a small box. Well, at least the original set came with 4 characters. They're like kind of D&D archetypes. Comes with 4 characters. It's a small deck that you have, and it's just a card game. You're going to have like a small hand of cards. You're just going to be playing a card on your turn. Now, some of these cards will give you the option to play more cards on your turn, and that's kind of where you're going to be comboing. And if you are able to play out your hand, you're able to draw 2 more cards, and so you can kind of keep comboing on top of your action economy. On top of all this, though, you do also have special abilities that are unique to your character. Your deck is pretty unique as well. There are obviously some things that are pretty similar, but it's really just a very light, very easy to play card game. And my main has always been Sutha. She's my girl. You give me the Sutha deck and I'll be smashing everybody, like truly. But me and my sister especially, we played, I think it was me and her that played all 12 of these games. I could be wrong, but we just run this game like it's nobody's business. We'll just pull out a couple decks. They've added kind of expansions since that original set of 4. They have like a 2-character expansion, and then they have a monster expansion, which I think comes with like 8 more characters. So there's a ton to choose from. We'll just kind of randomize our characters sometimes and just play a couple rounds. The game lasts no longer than like 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes even shorter. Just a blast of a card game, and very, very fun time this year playing Dungeon Mayhem. All right. 5th spot with most plays. We're going with 12 plays here. This is going to be the Fellowship of the Ring, the trick-taking game. Lord of the Rings, the trick-taking game. I'm not even going to try to say the title. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the trick-taking game. I think that's it. This is a campaign-style cooperative trick-taking game where you're going to be going through the story or the book of the Fellowship of the Ring. And each of these different kind of chapters is going to have different rules that you can abide by. But really, the game is run by the characters. in the beginning, you're going to be kind of drafting characters. The person who's dealt the one ring, or the ring suit, one, is always going to be Frodo in this game, if Frodo is present. And then the rest of the characters kind of draft around there. And each of these characters has a unique win condition, something that they have to do in order to win their own objective. And the way that you beat these chapters is by having any of those chapter-specific goals fulfilled, but also completing all of your characters' objectives as well sometimes. So you'll be going through really thematically, I would say. They do a really good job making it very thematic to the books. Through all of these different story points as the Lord of the Rings characters. We played 12 games of this, and that makes a lot of sense because it's really easy because it's pretty short for a chapter, and if you fail a chapter, you might replay a chapter, and I counted each play, even if I failed, as a play of the game. And we played a little bit of this 2-player, me and my wife, and then we kind of brought it with our friends. We played 4-player with them and expanded further into the chapters. We still have not finished it, but that is going to be the 5th number spot, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the trick-taking game. I can't believe I decided to say that again. Okay, and so in the 4th spot, most played, we've got Ahoy with 16 plays. One of those plays being an 8-player game, an absolutely atrocious event that I did for my birthday this last year, and it was a fantastic time. I really made it the summer of Ahoy this past year, and I explored that game to a deeper place that I never have with the release of the Fame and Fortune and Rivals and Renegades expansions that they released. Just a fantastic game. It is so much different than Root, and I gotta stop saying things like, okay, it's if you want something that's kind of like Root but not Root and easier to play, you can get Ahoy. I think I stand by, like, they have some similarities, sure, but they're such different games that I think I just gotta stop saying that altogether. Ahoy is its own thing, and people that like Ahoy may not like Root, and people that like Root may not like Ahoy. In fact, that's pretty common, I think, in the discussion of this game. I like both games, and I think they're very good for different reasons. But this year was kind of my summer of Ahoy. I did a lot of content on Ahoy, if you notice on the channel. And I even have more content planned for 2026. There's content planned for all of Leader's titles. And so Ahoy with 16 plays makes a lot of sense. If you don't know at all what this game is, I do have a lot of links that I'll just go ahead and drop down if you want to do some kind of deep diving into Ahoy, because like I said, I've talked about this quite a bit. But I'll give you the quick pitch. It is an asymmetric kind of war game where 2 factions will be battling for an area control over the seas, set in kind of a pirate, whimsical pirate universe. And then 2 other factions will be increasing how much those territories score for the other 2 factions, while also scoring points for themselves. And it plays out. It's a dice rolling action selection system. So you'll like roll your dice, and then you'll have a player board, and then depending on what actions you want to do, you can slot those dice into there, and you can adjust the dice value with gold that you can collect on the sea. It is a fantastic war game. I love it so much. Ahoy is a fantastic game. Man, I wish I played it more, honestly, but 16 plays, that's quite a bit. I am very pleased with that. So Ahoy at 4th spot. And now we're getting into some atrociously large numbers here. With the top 3, we've got Harvest. That's going to be 3rd most played. This is going to be 45 plays. Now, I will say a lot of these were on Board Game Arena, and it was just with my friend Doolin, who has a YouTube channel, by the way, Table Knots. So if you want to check that out, I'll have a link to that down below. And yeah, we just ran this game over and over. I think we're not in one right now, but we should be. I love Harvest so much. It is a kind of farming worker placement game, and it's really just an optimization puzzle, because you've got a certain number of workers, 3 workers to be exact, and you will be getting basically 12 placements. So 3 placements over the course of 4 seasons. And you're always thinking about, oh, do I need to get more seeds? Do I need to plant those seeds? Do I need to water the seeds? And it's all about optimization, because if you're watering, you want to water when you have a lot of plants already planted, so that way you can just do it all in one. And then when you're harvesting, you want to make sure you get a lot of different kinds if you want to make more money, but it's easier sometimes to just dial in on one type, but you're going to get less money for harvesting only one type of crop. There's really a lot to it. You could go to, we've like explored so much strategies in this game after, 45 plays this year. Was it 40? Yeah, 45 plays this year. Explored so much depth and strategy with this game of, which buildings to grab, which character to draft, and which sunrise abilities are great. And yeah, I found some of the characters that I just find that I'm better at, some of the characters that I found that I'm just not as good at. Some characters are weaker, some characters are stronger. Some board spots that I'm really excited to see in that kind of opening draft in the kind of farmer's market area, and buildings that I'm excited to see. So there's just a lot to the game, and I think that even after these 45 plays, I still want to play it more, and I think that's a great sign of a game. So that is going to be Harvest in the 3rd most played spot with 45 freaking plays. All right, so second most is going to be a game that released this year, and I had a feeling it would be a hit for me because I'm a huge fan of Rubberhose artwork, and it's a deck building game with that, and this is going to be Fliptoons. This is a deck building game that kind of runs like a slot machine in some ways. You're going to be adding characters to your deck, but every single turn, on your turn, you're just going to be flipping up 6 cards only. And you're going to be putting 3 on top, 3 on bottom, making 2 rows of 3. And there's a lot of like abilities with cards that matter on the placement in which they come out, because some of these cards might stack on the card previous or stack on a card that's face down. Some cards, if they're in the top row, they actually slide up and make a new row, like a 3rd one. And then some, they give you, a lot of what the currency of the game called fame. They'll give you a lot of fame, but they're going to make you dismiss the card that is next or to the right of this card, like the alligator. There is so many different cards and with really cool abilities in this game, and it's very fast. It's a very fast-paced game once you kind of get the hang of it. I will not say that it's like the most strategic or thought-provoking game out there, but it is a blast to play, and I got so many of my friends into it this year as well, so much so that they were all asking to either have a copy, and they all kind of went out and got copies. Some of them got a copy for Christmas, which made me really happy. Some bought a copy right after we played, which made me really happy. It's just a really good time, and it's easy enough to where you could introduce this to people that are not really gamers. It's just that darn fun and silly. And I didn't even say how many plays. 46 plays. Very close between Harvest and Fliptoons. I will say a lot of these plays were live, but a lot of them were also on Board Game Arena. But man, what a fun time. I don't think I'm done playing it. I definitely have toned down on my Fliptoons games just because it's just, there was a lot of them. I went crazy for a bit there. And then now I'm kind of slowing down, chilling out. And yeah, I haven't even had it all that long. So man, yeah, Fliptoons, man. All right. And that leads us to the game that I played the most this year. I'm going to give you guys one guess. No, I'm just kidding. You guys already know. It's Root. It's Root, a game of woodland might and right. This game, it's going to probably be a really long time before it's not the most played game. I would be surprised if it's not, with Homeland expansion coming this year and my map being a part of that. Obviously, I'm going to be playing Root more. I'm going to be trying to get really comfortable with these new Homeland factions when the P&P kit came out. And besides that, I play Root all the time. It's a live and breathe situation. It's really a lot of freaking root. So this year I had 109 games logged of root. That is across tabletop simulator plays. That is across root digital plays. And that is across all of the live games that I play with the multiple groups of people that I've set up to be kind of my root groups. And it's been a fantastic time teaching people, playing with people. Root is, in my opinion, the best game out there, especially for me. It's 109 games, and I'm in more right now, and I want to be in more all the time. Like, I want to be playing this game all the time. It has so much variance. If you don't know what root is, welcome to the channel. About 75% of the content on this channel, I would say, is probably root. I don't know how accurate that is, but I think it's close enough. I have a really good relationship with this game. It is a war game of woodland critters, where each faction is going to be kind of trying to score points, earning their legitimacy in this forest, this deep and dense forest. And each faction will be making actions on their turn in the form of 3 phases, with kind of a morning phase called Birdsong, a main action phase called Daylight, and then a kind of clean up some small actions, draw some cards called Evening phase. And throughout that time period, you are trying to score points in your own unique way. The birds got to place the roosts while maintaining a decree that gets harder and harder to maintain, else they might turmoil and lose points. The cats are just building buildings. They just want to spread out. They want to protect their own, but then they kind of want to let go of some buildings so that they can score more. The vagabond wants to explore the ruins. They want to trade with other players. They mostly just want to cause havoc and destruction and kill everybody's pieces. And then we've got the Woodland Alliance, the revolution. They got to spread their sympathy around the woodland, trying to get all of that sympathy towards their revolution. Eventually to revolt, build a base, do some military operations at night, and score points by organizing their units into more sympathy. That's kind of the pitch of the base game and how each of the 4 factions kind of scores points in the base game. But there have been a lot of expansions since, and there's a new expansion coming for a total now of 13 factions. Root is not going anywhere in my life, and 109 plays feels right. Let's do more. Let's do more than 109 for next year. But yeah, that is it for the games that I played the most in 2025. I'll go ahead and release my kind of BG stats end of year frames here, so you can look at some of that. You can check that out. And then before we close out, I want to take some time to thank the members of the YouTube channel. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. So much for being members. Special thank you to One with Iron and Pal. You guys are both lords of the board, and so it's just really awesome to have you guys be supporting the channel in that way. Yeah, man, just what a crazy time. Very excited for the content to come. Here's a question for you guys though. What are some of the top 10 lists that you guys want to know from 2025 that you guys want me to do videos for? I'm assuming there's going to be like my top 10 releases video. I'm sure you guys are going to want to see that. Probably already have that one in the works. I'm formulating the list, if that makes sense. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I guess I will see you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed this video today. All right, guys, let's go ahead and drop the beat.